Welcome to the Go Home Show before the Royal Rumble this Sunday live on the WWE Network. This is the final SmackDown before the road to WrestleMania begins on Sunday. Which means this is another edition of Let's Play WWE 2015. As you can tell, I'm taking a different approach to it, sort of like I did in the last episode when I actually taped Main Event. I'm taking a little different approach to this tonight, as you are actually going to see me book a little bit more than you normally do for a show, because at this point, SmackDown basically has 45 minutes, a half hour of the show done, and all of it consists of Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. And now we're going to keep going as we move to the next match, as we move to our first match with Swagger going up against Ted DiBiase Jr. And Swagger gets the win. Excuse me. Jason, Jerry, and Scott Hudson. Randy and Seth are the focus of tonight's show. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are the focus of tonight's show. Tamina versus Natalya. You know what? No. AJ, come here and help me, as AJ is getting getting a win over Tamina tonight as she heads into her Royal Rumble match this Sunday on pay-per-view against Paige. And then we move into this, and since I can't do it any other way, we are moving into By the Numbers, which is my favorite. Well, let's do this. Royal Rumble by the Numbers, which is a video package that WWE normally does in the build-up to the Royal Rumble. Some of these I'm going to put together now, but I'm not going to talk about it until later, like this one. That has been building for a while, and it is going to come to fruition very soon, but not at the moment. Not at the moment. Hype backstage segment. The reason why I brought back Alex Riley and put him with The Miz is because I think that in terms of Alex as an announcer, well, in terms of Alex as an announcer, he's not that bad. In terms of Alex as a wrestler, meh. In terms of Alex in his prime, was with The Miz. Alex in his prime was with The Miz. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was best when he was with Miz. You know, he was best when he was with Miz. So, Carlito. You know what? Let's do this. The Matadors versus Shelley and Sabin. 5 minutes. Draw, open, double DQ. And then we have what do we have? Let's have a pull apart. Six. Okay. Sabin, Primo, Carlito, Rhino, Shelley, and Epico. And then since Stephanie and Hunter, or Hunter, have to be involved in at least every show at least once, we need to put them involved in this show. Or make them get involved in this show. So, that's exactly what I'm going to do. As Stephanie comes out to the ring and books a fatal 6-man tag team match for the Royal Rumble between the Colognes and Made in Detroit Made. And then we move on to the next segment as Shelton Benjamin goes up against the Big Show. As both these men will be in the Rumble on Sunday, and both of these men will have their opportunity to go to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Now, here is WWE's usual thing. And I say usual thing because this is where Dean Ambrose lays claim to being the man who will walk out of Philadelphia the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania and the Intercontinental Champion, as he is going to win the Royal Rumble. But that brings out Roman Reigns, The Miz, and then progressively out comes Chris Jericho and Bad News Barrett. As things are starting to hit the fan and the brawl begins as Roman, Dean, Jericho, Bad News, all are going after each other. in the ring, and one man is left standing tall, the odd man out. The Miz is the only one left standing tall in the middle of the ring. Following all this happening, and then that leads to him and Arai celebrating in the middle of the ring. What are they celebrating? Well, the fact that The Miz is acting like he won the Royal Rumble. And then this brings out Damien Sandow, which leads to this. Oh, no. The Miz, Alex Riley, Damien Sandow. So, that is where we're at. A big segment. What, it was 10, 18, 21, 23, 28 minutes. 28 minutes of the show, so the same amount of time occupied by Rollins and Randy is also occupied by this Royal Rumble build-up thing. So now we move forward as we move to the next match, which I believe will be the last match on tonight's show, as Christian, that's right, Christian returns to the ring against Bull Dempsey. And that promo is also something I will get to later, because I don't want to talk about it right now. As now we're going to book a match on the pre-show with Bray going up against D'Lo Brown. Bray's victorious, as both these men don't very rarely compete. So, yeah. But that was the pre-show match, as now let's kick off the last SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, and it kicks off like this, as Seth Rollins and Joey Mercury set up the main event tonight, talking about Randy Orton and how jealousy and ego split up what could have been the greatest WWE faction. I mean, the greatest faction in WWE history. And it's because of egos like Randy's and Kane's that the Authority has its only positive member. And it just happens to be the undisputed future of the WWE, Seth freaking Rollins. And then out of nowhere, Randy Orton's theme song hits, but it's not Randy Orton, it's Jamie Noble. Jamie Noble comes out impersonating Randy, but that doesn't last too long, as the real Randy Orton comes out, and the brawl is on between Randy and Rollins. But luckily for Seth, J&J Security was still at ringside and allowed Seth and helped Seth escape the Viper for now. And now Scott Hudson and his cohorts talk up the main event tonight. Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Randy has Brock Lesnar on Sunday, but has Rollins tonight in the main event. And it's just a question, what part, if any, will J&J Security play in tonight's main event? But now we move to our first match, and it is Jack Swagger against Ted DiBiase, as Swagger gets the win over Ted DiBiase. And unlike the last couple of weeks, Zeb Coulter this time comes down to ringside with Jack Swagger. After Jack's match, Zeb walks down to ringside and starts talking to Swagger. We only pick up some of it on camera, but Zeb is telling Jack, or asking Jack, what have you become? What type of man are you? You're not the man I mentored. You're not the man I managed. You are a shell of your former self. But just like I said, we only pick up some of it. We don't pick up all of it. So him saying that after Swagger picked up a win over Ted DiBiase doesn't really make sense to those who can't hear everything he's saying. But I'm just going to tell you this much. It is the start of Swagger getting back on TV more consistently and wrapped up in a feud, but it is not the formation of Mexican America. It is the return of Zeb Coulter. I went over that video package earlier. It's by the numbers. Now we move to AJ Lee and her match against Tamina, which got a lot better than I thought it would, because I didn't think it was going to even get a 40. Now we move to AJ, as AJ talks up her match against Paige. And the main talking point for this match is, Paige, you're jealous of me. I'm not jealous of you. Well, the main talking point of this match, instead of me going into a promo, is AJ believes Paige is jealous of her because Paige isn't the woman she used to be. Because she's become what everybody hates. A diva. And not a woman's wrestler like she was in NXT. So I was wrong, and then AJ would say something like this. I was wrong, Paige. Your parents didn't force you to be in the business. You just couldn't say no to being in front of a camera. Taking a shot at Paige for being on Total Divas. Now we move forward as Miz once again is complaining about how he has only a 25% chance to walk away with the WWE Intercontinental title at the Royal Rumble in his triple threat match against Damian Sandow and Dean Ambrose. Even without Dolph Ziggler in it, he still doesn't have a big chance to walk away with the belt. And now we move forward as Primo and Epico go once again up against the Motor City Machine Guns, and this time the match ends in a no contest due to double disqualification. Well, simply because of this. As Carlito and Rhino get involved in the match, causing the double DQ, and that leads to a big brawl between the Colognes and Detroit Made, as Chaos reigns supreme in the first in the arena in Baltimore. But it doesn't last long, as Stephanie McMahon comes out and books a 6-man tag team match for this Sunday on pay-per-view between Detroit Made and the Colognes. And for those who might not know, Detroit made is Rhino, Shelley, and Sabin, as they are all from Detroit, Michigan. Now we move forward. The next match is Big Show versus Shelton, as Shelton comes up short against the Giant, and Big Show gets the win as both men head towards the Rumble and the 40-man match. And now we move another step forward in the show as Dean Ambrose comes out, talks a little bit about, well, I actually mentioned this before. Ambrose's promo is saying how this Sunday he's going to walk in to Philly, just the lunatic fringe, but when he leaves, he will be not just the Intercontinental Champion, but the #1 contender to the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, even if it means throwing out Roman Reigns. Now, let me just explain something. He doesn't just say, even if it means throwing out Roman Reigns. He goes through names like The Miz, like Bad News Barrett, like Jericho, like Joe Hennig, so on and so forth. And he says, and then the last person he says, even if I have to throw out Roman Reigns to win and go to WrestleMania, I will do that, because I am going to walk out of Philadelphia world's #1 contender to the world title at WrestleMania. And that brings out Roman Reigns and The Miz. The three of them trade words about who's going to win the Royal Rumble. And then progressively more people join in as Jericho and Bad News Barrett also come out. And they talk about how they're going to win the Royal Rumble. But then this leads to a big brawl going on between Ambrose, Reigns, Barrett, and Jericho, as basically they take each other out of the equation, only leaving one man in the ring, and that is The Miz. But that doesn't last that long, as Damien Sandow comes charging down the ramp for The Miz. Miz sees him coming, Riley doesn't. The celebration is cut short as Sandow goes after Riley. As Sandow blasts Riley into oblivion. The Miz is able to escape, but not without getting into a heated stare down with Damien Sandow, as Sandow, much like Ambrose, wants the WWE Intercontinental title and does the motion across his chest, symbolizing he's coming for that belt, which he will get his chance Sunday at Royal Rumble. And now this next match, to make this show have some sort of meaning, you see Christian up against Bull Dempsey. Christian returning for the first time in almost over a year to the ring. And the more important part of this match is Christian announces that he wants one more opportunity, and he's going to get it at the Royal Rumble. And now we move forward once again to the main event, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. And to protect both Seth and Randy, Randy wins via via countout after J&J Security helped Rollins, pulled Rollins out of the ring and grabbed his case and walked away to stop Rollins from coming up short against Randy Orton. But Jamie was taken behind. Randy gets out of the ring, runs up behind Jamie Noble, grabs him, brings him back to the ring, and drops him with the RKO, which leads to a heated stare down between Rollins and Randy as the show goes off the air, and you hear Scott Hudson say, if this is how SmackDown ends, I can't imagine what we're gonna see this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. Don't miss it. Wow. Wowie, wow, wow. we increased our popularity in 23 regions, but also lost popularity in 16, like every other week on SmackDown. But fact is, if I'm correct, that means we gained popularity even though we lost popularity. Because we gained more popularity than we lost, we ended up getting the difference. If that makes sense. I'm sorry if it sounds confusing, it kinda is. If I am wrong that I did not gain popularity, even though it says I did, then let me know in the comment section so I get a better understanding of how this works. Because I think that I just cut the difference. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. One more time, this Sunday on the WWE Network, you will see the 40-man Royal Rumble, where the winner gets a title shot at WrestleMania against either Brock Lesnar or Randy Orton. Speaking of Brock and Randy, the WWE World title is on the line as Brock Lesnar defends his title against the Viper, Randy Orton. John Cena and Kevin Owens lock horns in what has become a heated rivalry. Speaking of heated rivalries, Paige and AJ face each other in a no disqualification match this Sunday as well. And that if that wasn't enough, you also will see Natalya versus Mickie James for the WWE Divas title. The Miz defending his title in a triple threat match against Dean Ambrose and Damian Sandow. Rob Van Dam versus Rusev for the United States title, and if Rob Van Dam is victorious, he gets Lana as his manager for 30 days. All that and more this Sunday, live on the WWE Network and select pay-per-view providers. It's the Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania begins this Sunday. And the last thing I have to say before then is, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time, later.